I feel like Pokemon fans have been stuck on that forever. You gave us 2 that time. 2.
Hello and welcome. My name is J.E. and with me today is my good old friend, Alexander Gonzalez.
Ayo.
And please remember that we are not game devs. Did I skip something? No. How are you today,
That's
Alex?
it?
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. Honestly, recording on different days of the podcast has switched up my internal rhythm. Like last week, I think we recorded on Monday.
Yeah.
So trash days on Wednesday, and nothing felt right. It felt like my week took longer.
Yeah, it's been weird throwing stuff around, but I don't know. My schedule's been hectic, so I appreciate you accommodating.
Oh no, I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. I just mean that it felt like my work week. I got so used to them being on Tuesdays that I could I knew, okay, 3 more days.
I see what you mean. It was like a marker in the week for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with that gone, it made it feel like when I had 4 more days until the weekend, I was like, this sucks.
But those are not the schedules we are talking about today. Today we are creating something new. Every week we are not game devs. We'll create a new exciting video game idea that we have always wanted to play, but do not have any knowledge or know-how to create the wonderful experience that are video games. Today is my turn to present We Are Not Game Devs 193rd IP. Now, this game is going to be interesting. I have a great idea for an animation in this game, and that's what we're pretty much starting off with. I have some game mechanics in mind and how it's going to all work, but this is how it starts, or not start, but this is essentially what I'm basing off everything from. So you're going to have your character, male, female, it doesn't matter, but you are wearing like an everyday outfit. They'll probably have a t-shirt, some jeans on, some sneakers, and maybe a cool hat to indicate that they're a main character type of thing. I think also pretty anime.
All you have to do to indicate that they're a main character is switch the color of their hair to non-traditional.
Right, or give them like a bow or something that's like super long, like tie a scarf around them and it's like flowing in the wind.
Or if you remember 90s anime, put some goggles on them.
Oh yeah, goggles. I had such an obsession with goggles as a kid, and it was anime, Digimon, fucking Vash,
Naruto. In the beginning before he got his headband.
Yeah. Goggles, man, that was like a thing in anime. I don't know what it was in the 90s, but people loved goggles. But wear normal clothes, but he has like this thing kind of sticking out on his shoulder over here, right? It's like, it looks like a really big USB stick, right? And then he's gonna grab it and then pull it diagonally across his like chest and down across, right? And as that happens, it's gonna kind of like rip a dimension thing across the same area where he just whipped it across his chest, and then it's gonna blast out and envelop him in like a Power Ranger type suit, right? And
so he's doing a suit transformation.
Yeah, you're pulling out your suit, and imagine like a magic trick type of thing where it pulls out the suit, or more like the Flash ring, where you activate this thing and your suit like blasts out of it, and then you get wrapped into it. And then when you pull it out at the very bottom, the thing that you pull out is actually going to be like a sword. So it's going to be like your weapon, and it's going to be tied to like some kind of element, right? The next person that you're probably going to meet is another person, and they're going to have on their left hip a whip and also a sword scabbard, right? And this guy, what's going to happen is he's going to take out the whip and twirl it around, and then that's going to cause the explosion, the dimension shift where your outfit comes out. It's going to come out in a twirl and then twirl around him in like a ribbon dancing.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And then that's how he's going to get his outfit. But then you're going to be fighting this person. Halfway through the fight, he's going to be like hitting you with this whip, and every time the whip happens, like water is going to splash out at the end of it. But halfway, when you get him to half health or whatever, he's going to pull out his sword, and then it's going to like go the opposite direction. So because he's pulling from the bottom across. So, and then that's how that thing's going to happen. And then his outfit's going to go half the thing that came out here and half of the other thing, and it's going to be like 2 different color tones. I'm thinking like gray and yellow.
Sword whips, and now he goes to like stage 2.
Yeah, stage 2, and the sword is like lightning based, so he's like rain and thunder, right? And then that's going to be like in Mega Man 10 or Mega Man X, how you meet Zero, and Zero is like this fucking badass dude with like a plasma sword and like this long hair. He's going to be like your rival / friend / person that helps you, but they're fighting you to like test your fighting abilities, right? But you're supposed to lose that fight. So that's how it starts. Like, there's going to be a stage in between, but essentially you're going to think like the opening to Mega Man X, where like you have like a small stage, you have some story plots, and then you meet your rival, and then all this happens. And this game, I think each time it's going to be like Mega Man, where at the very end, you're going to fight a boss. They're going to have a different weapon for every person. And that's going to give them a different outfit and a different elemental power. And then when you beat them, you get their weapon, and you could change your loadout before you choose your stage. And then you get their weapon, you get their outfit, and you get whatever elemental power they have.
But it fuses with your main power. So it changes just a little bit. So you're not going to have the same power they did.
I'm fine with that.
It'll be filtered through your own power.
It'd be like you'd be taking their element, but using it in your way. Like, it'll be like if you beat the rock boss, now you could like use rock, but in a different way.
And maybe let's go up to 3 different stages. So at first you can combine your power and one other power. And then eventually later down the road, you can combine 2 powers. So you're ripping again. And I think it should be a little bit graphic, where the first one is like, Hut! And then he rips, and then the character rips, and it hurts a little bit. Then the second one, you see him grip, and then you see him struggle, and then it rips again. And on the third one, he'll like have these eyes, these ferocious anime eyes, and he grips with 2 hands. And I'm saying he because I imagine it being me. And then you see him struggle for a little bit longer and slowly go, and you see the power kind of almost bursting out, like light bursting out of him or her, and then it takes over into a third form, which is very ferocious.
So you want, while you're in the middle of a stage, there to be like some kind of build-up meter that powers you up as you like defeat more enemies, and so by the end of the boss, or when you get to the boss, you're in like your 3rd stage or whatever.
No, in the game. So
that's just permanent,
right? But I think there should be a meter that runs out, that you can't do that again unless you rest for a little bit. I don't think I think you can do 1st stage, 2nd stage, 3rd stage, and you can use each of those powers interchangeably. So you don't have to I think it would be even cooler if the way it combines in the end on your 3rd stage, it's always the same, but you can choose which power you want to be 1st stage and which power you want to be 2nd stage. Do you understand me? So I think 1st stage is always going to be your basal power, and then you can change your loadout to make your 2nd stage. Do you want it to be lightning? Do you want it to be rock? Do you want it to be steel? Do you want it to be heat? And then go from there. And then you can make your last power lightning. But then that would change different combinations.
Interesting. So I kind of get what you mean, but for simplicity's sake, like what I was thinking, it would be like each time you pick a stage, you pick one of the weapons you have in your arsenal to bring with you, type of thing. And you could change that out before every stage. So it's like you're picking out your loadout before you fight a boss, which is a little bit different than Mega Man, because in Mega Man, you could cycle through all your different powers. But in this game, I do want, when you activate your power at the very beginning of the stage, so you like warp in, I want there to be that rip thing, and it like transforms your costume and stuff. That's how it starts each stage or whatever.
So you want the power to just begin from the stage?
Yeah. But
like stage 1 will be whatever power it is from there, and then you can do stage 2 if you want to do combine for like a time limit thing, where there's a meter that drains. Right.
Where it's not so much that it drains. I think so. The way that you're describing your idea, this is how it went through in my head, where you're like, you get into a map and you have, let's say you just got the earth weapon from the last boss, and that's the weapon you wanted to use for that particular round or that level. And as you defeat more and more monsters, they'll drop like little pellets or whatever, and you collect those, and that'll like power up your earth power. And once you get enough, it'll get you into the next level of it and unlock like an extra ability. And that would be like halfway through the map. And then at the end, then you have the ability to unleash like an ultimate, which would be like the third stage you were saying. But
yeah, like a Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah, but like how I think it would work is you could only activate that once, so you could just save that for the boss, or you could like use it in the middle of the match or of the level or whatever. Or maybe you could just keep using it every time it builds up to that thing, and then it runs out after a certain meter. But then in my head, it would just make more sense if you went from one and then you activate your ult every once in a while. Because the second stage, it would be like, well, you had to build all the way up to the second stage. So I think it'll be better if like you start off, you have your weapon, and you are continuously building up like this ult meter, and you could choose to use it whenever, and you have it for a short amount of time, and you build that back up, just like how ult would work in like Overwatch or whatever.
Okay, I think that's a good idea.
And also, just so you're aware, the only person in this entire game, in my head, the only person that could dual wield elements is your rival / friend. And they're the only person that you'll meet that has like 2 different weapons and 2 different elements. Just because they're like, I do want them to feel like Zero, where it's like, wow, the rival is kind of cooler than I am. And you just think that the entire like game.
They have that kind of that cool rival feature that's featured in a lot of animes.
Yeah, like
your Sasuke, your
like even Gary
Gray. Or Joey in Yu-Gi-Oh, or you the list goes on and on and
like
on.
Gary Gray, you're like, man, that necklace and that purple shirt, that guy's a cool dude, even if he's kind of a dick. His necklace always made him look cool, though. He had like that cool little pendant thing, you know?
Oh, most definitely.
And then at the end of season 1, Gary ends up being like the coolest guy, just like the coolest dude.
Not only that, he just kicks ass. Like he sends out an Eevee, and you're like, "Is that his starter?" Yeah. And he sends out a Blastoise. You're like, "Oh, that's the starter."
Whatever happens to Gary? Is he still in the show? Is he like?
Technically, I believe Gary ends up becoming, from what I understand, Viridian Gym's leader.
That makes sense. Or does he end up being like an Elite Four member or something at all? Or
that I'm not sure of. But I know.
Gary's always been cooler than Ash. I don't care what you say.
Yes. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and he has a cooler story arc. Like he starts off as a dick, and then he gets humbled, and then he becomes like an actual great trainer. And he's always been a great trainer. I just mean, you know.
And he has cooler Pokemon IMO.
Yeah.
Except he does. I don't know if he has shinies or not, because Ash does have shinies.
Oh, I didn't know that. Not in season 1.
Shiny Noctowl.
Huh? Not in season 1 though.
No, season 2.
Yeah. But yeah, I think your rival is just going to be that cool. It has that like it factor. He has a cool character design. He uses 2 weapons and uses 2 elements, and
he has a dark, brooding nature about him.
Yeah, because he's thunder and lightning. I don't know why I gave him those 2. I just thought it'd be cool.
You mean rain and
lightning? Yes. Thunder and lightning are the same thing, almost. Not really, but almost. Weapons, I have a couple ideas for a few. So you have, like, I had an idea for someone who, you know, they have like those little daggers, like ninja assassins would have daggers like behind where like a tramp stamp would be.
Like the kunai?
Yeah, they'll have them like right back here, and they'll like pull it out like this. You know what I mean?
And it's like a little knife with tape to it.
Yeah, and it has like a little hole at the end sometimes.
Yeah, that's
So
the kunai. Yeah, okay.
that will be like one of the weapon activations where they pull it out from behind them, and then it like goes like this and goes the opposite way from like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You could also have the big shuriken or like a big hammer in the back or something, and then that you like release like that.
Okay, so we can't have two ranged weapons. Do you want just to be ranged weapons, or do you want one to be melee?
I think it's going to be most of them are going to have a range aspect to it and a melee aspect to it. So the range is going to be whatever element is tied to their power, and then the melee is whatever the weapon is. You know what I mean? And then for the kunai, maybe the kunai is just all range. So you have like little throwing things, and let's just make it ice. Ice and kunai look like they would be hand in hand.
Okay.
Maybe for the kunai it's opposite. Range is the main form of attack, and then and then you got like an ice wall. It's like a defensive weapon style. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm trying to think, because you could give him like a shield, or you can do like an ice wall kind of thing.
I was thinking like an ice wall, like a May ice wall or something.
Okay. Ice wall. Do you want the weapon to be like a kunai, and maybe you could do another one being like a pole arm?
That'd be interesting.
Because the pole arm could be ice, and like let's say you drag it across the ground, it could create an ice wall that springs up from the floor.
You mean we're sticking with the same character for this one? I think kunai would be cool, and then let's just full on make him a ninja, and when they do the ice wall, they like do something quickly on the ground. It's like a little ninjutsu thing, and they like pop up like an ice wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So kunai for the main weapon, and then that'll also have some ranged effects there too.
Yeah. What is that going to do when the main character gets it? Because the main character won't be using the same power, so it won't be an ice wall. Maybe they'll get a shield, like an ice shield, and then throw like kunai.
Yeah, I could see that, where maybe they can throw two kunai, but if they combine the kunai together in front of them, it creates an ice wall, like an ice shield.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Hammer, I see earth, and I see an animation where the boss, like it's like Avatar, where they hammer the ground and a little bit of earth comes up and they like baseball hit it to you.
Oh yeah, they can hit it that way, definitely.
Yeah.
And they can also make it where what else? I think they could also make it where they can hammer in holes to the ground as well. And make it where they can hammer into the floor, put the hammer in, and then pull out like crystals, so it becomes spiky. So it's like heavier but stronger.
For the pole arm, I see that like as fire, and then maybe it'll be like a flame wall, like they like shoot a wall of flame towards you.
I was thinking we could make it even speed, like so you could use it where as like you swing it, fire shoots out at you, or you can throw it and fire shoots out the back, so it goes super fast.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm down for that. I also try to think about, because like I want every character to have dope. Every time you meet them, there's going to be this cutscene where they take out their weapon, and it also gives them their cool outfit.
Yeah, so I think the fire guy should have it where he doesn't shoot fire out of his pole arm. Instead, he can throw it and the fire propels it fast. Or as he attacks you, he can also do a leap into the air and the fire leaps him upward, and then he can leap downward using the fire against
like
you. So Captain he's like Falcon really kick. Mobile.
Yeah. I'm down with that. That's cool. How would the pole arm be taken out? How do you take out a pole arm? I know it's usually on the back.
I think the pole arm would be something where like as he takes it off his back, you see fire come out from underneath the pole arm and like shroud him up to the point where as it gets over your head, the fire's raining down under you, like on top of you, and then the suit comes out. You get what I'm saying? So like
What if he does this, where he takes out the pole arm, and then he starts doing a fucking, it's like spinning, and then that
like a twirl, and then the fire
envelops
comes
him.
over you.
Yeah. For the hammer, I don't know. That's also going to be on the back.
But I think with that one, I think you smash it on the floor, and then rocks float up into the air and then crush all over you, and then you break through the rocks into your suit.
Okay. I like that.
I've watched enough anime that I think I can come up with any one of these.
Yeah. Cool.
The hardest one would be water, arguably.
Well, that's going to be the whip, remember? And so it's just going to be a spiral that envelops them. And then when they take out the sword, half of it becomes lightning. So it's going to be like this gray and yellow suit. It's going to be cool. I also see the suits as being kind of Power Ranger-esque. Like they're going to have that like onesie looking, type of color, one primary color and some accents here and there. Probably cooler than Power Rangers. I'm thinking more like, I guess.
And then add some armor, some shoulder pads, some knee pads, some elbow pads. And I don't mean pads, obviously. Like you're not going skating, but then that's where the spikes come in and you're adding like different cool armor.
Cool looking accents. Like I think either like Evangelion, but of course like more smaller size, or like Anthem suits, or like what's the other one where they had like Kingdom Hearts, like Kingdom Hearts Keyblade Master suits.
Or that one time, that Digimon season where they became the Digimon.
I don't remember that. I didn't get that deep into Digimon. I didn't even watch all of season 1. I bet you I watched more Monster Rancher than I watched Digimon.
No. Oh man.
Cool. I dig all of that.
So what we have the gameplay, and obviously you're going to be going into a level where it's like their kingdom or whatever, or their lair. You're going to kill a bunch of enemies based off that element that use it to a very minimal effect until you approach the boss and take their weapon from them.
Mm-hmm.
Is this 2D, or do you want this to be open world? Or
in my head, because it's so Mega Man influence, I think it'll be 2D. I could also see it being isometric, like Hades-esque. But I see it as 2D platforming kind of. I see a lot of dashing and deflecting. Like you'll be dashing around a lot, and probably with each weapon style, you're like, it's going to be like Hades, where each weapon style is going to drastically change how your character feels and moves, and like what attacks they have, obviously. But I see this as one of those like fast-paced 2D side-scrolling games. Like,
okay.
I've never played any of them, but from what I know, Hyper Life Drifter or like The Messenger or like, those type of games, it's going to have that kind of vibe to it. Look wise, I want it to look like a moving anime, kind of like.
Yeah, no 2.5D, straight 2D animation style, hand drawn.
Yeah.
This game needs to look like it's going to look good.
I imagine it like Cuphead, but not that art style, like an anime art style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hand drawn anime style, where they're taking like, where there's going to be a companion manga released next to it that would have the original artwork.
I want,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In collector's editions.
I want it to look as good as like Dragon Ball Fighters did as like a 2D fighter, or like, or like how good I don't know, like those Bandai Namco fighting games based off anime. Like I think Demon Slayer actually looks pretty cool, like the art style of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like I want it to look good and very anime like, and then very anime-esque cutscenes. Like each time the boss gets introduced, there's going to be a whole magical girl transformation for that boss fight. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like Yakuza, where every time you fight a boss, there's going to be a cutscene where the boss takes off his shirt.
It's the introduction,
tattoos and stuff. It's going to be like that, but they're going to show off what element they have and what weapon they use.
So the last boss will be the power of darkness, where when they take off their weapon, instead of there being like a void, let's make it where dark tattoos take over their body and then enshrine them to make them more of a demon-like figure.
Like Sasuke?
Huh?
Like Sasuke?
A little bit of Sasuke, a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima.
What Legends. I was kind of thinking, actually, Power of Darkness, his animation, I want him. This is how I imagine him. Do you know what Ignis looks like in Final Fantasy 15? He's that typical like nerdy, skinny, tall, glasses.
Yeah, the one that takes photographs.
He goes like this. No, that's Pronto.
Oh, yeah. The one with the knives.
Yeah. And they're like that pompous, like almost British looking, like always wears a suit. I kind of imagine him looking like that. Weapons, fucking the hand claw things, and his transformation just puts a glove on. And then like that's it. And that's all he does.
Okay, I like that. And then he'll be a 2-stage boss where eventually he'll go on all fours and have claws on both hands and feet.
Yeah, I think the second stage where he gets hard is when he gets into what you're saying, where his body starts like...
No, yeah. So he'll sit there and he'll have his gloves on with his claws, and then he'll take off his glasses, and then you'll see him... he'll take off his shoes very calmly and like button down his shirt, and you'll see like a whole tattoo on him.
He'll do the whole chest. He'll throw off his shirt,
and then you'll see it. You'll see it fly. Yeah, yeah. And then when it pans back to him, he's on all fours as a demon.
That's great. The shirt covers the screen a little bit and it flies away in the wind. You know what would be a great? How it actually will look. I just got the perfect ideal of what this game is going to look like. It's going to look like 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
And then so then on top of that, that's when at that point the music's been great. It's been kind of orchestral. All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, it's opera voices. In the last boss, they're using opera voices where it's like, oh, and you're like, oh no, we know it's serious now.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Cool. All that being said, I think we have a decent grasp. We have a few bosses lined up. We got the main boss. We got two. I guess we only have two real stages. We just got the hammer. Oh, no, three. Hammer, earth, ice, kunai, javelin, fire.
And then darkness.
Yep,
fire. Unless you want to make like a kind of nature stage, but
would probably need a few more, like 3 more. So like let's say there's also we'll take nature. Whip would be great for them, but that's already taken. So they'll have like a fucking, I don't know, nunchucks.
Nunchucks. What they could do instead for that weapon, they could use. What if they use a slingshot?
Oh, that's cool.
And the slingshot has different seeds in it that they could use. So like when it hits you, like a vine will wrap around you.
So we're going full Usopp here.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. So
I mean,
it just makes sense to me.
Yeah, sure. Slingshot, that's cool. The lamest transformation, all they're going to do is take out this tiny little slingshot, shoot a seed in the air, and then that like blows up and envelops them in like...
It's going to be a kid.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and maybe that's the one that's actually doesn't end up becoming an enemy, but ends up becoming the guy that appears in a little window. And he's like, hey, be careful. I'm your informant now.
Yeah,
this guy's really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy in the chair.
I'm down with that. That's like the first boss. We force you into that as your first boss. And then after that, we do the Mega Man thing where you let you choose. But the first one, you always have to fight that kid.
There we go.
What's another... We haven't touched on like air.
Air... I think
what if be air? It's like the big fan with like blades on it, or the circle blade thing, where they like go like this. Which one do you like better?
A circle blade thing makes sense.
A circle blade thing. Okay. I don't know what those things are called.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah, the only person I know that uses it is in Soul Calibur.
Yeah, that one
lady.
Chick. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, and then What other element could we use at that point?
We only need like one more. Because 6 stages sounds like a good amount of stages, and then the last stage.
Unless you want the last guy to be like a shield that he uses, and maybe his is like time based.
Whoa. I like the idea of a shield. And it could be yeah, I don't know. What if
that would be hard unless it would be a shield that can eventually shatter into pieces, but then what would it be? Could it be sand?
What if instead,
because when sand becomes hard, it becomes glass.
Yeah. What if instead we make it so the shield is the power of wind, and so it's a lot of like knockback effects, and then the
so like he puts the shield up and runs at you and blows you into the wall and smushes you.
Yeah, or he throws the shield and it like blasts you back, type of thing, you know. Whereas the circle blade thing, poison, like a poison ivy situation.
The shield would be interesting because you could throw it and then it could kind of rotate around the room, and if it gets behind you, it can push you forward into him or her.
All right. Well, music, you said kind of like
orchestral and then opera towards the end.
I'm down with that. Pricing, this sounds to me
full pop.
Yeah, full pop. Not full 70, but I think I could easily see this coming out as like a $60 game.
Yeah, 60. 60 across the board.
All right, Alex. It's time to start your timer, because it's time to name this game.
All right. And it will... That is a timer. We're going to do the stopwatch, and it begins. Why don't we call it Throne of the Elements?
What's the throne?
The darkness guy defeated all of the elements and becomes the throne, and there's different rankings happening all the time. I don't know.
Huh.
This seems going to be difficult. Maybe we should just call it something like Lysander.
You just made up a word? Is that what that was?
Yeah. Lethargy.
We can call it
Elachiridian. Nortundra. Kolaoka.
I'm gonna look something
Ken's
up here.
Lamental. Mana Break. Energy Thief. Gladius Observed.
How about Elemental Burst?
Yeah, sure. All right. Elemental Burst in 3 minutes, 12 seconds. Elemental Burst Gladios.
Elemental Burst. I don't know. Supreme. Elemental Burst Overdrive.
Okay. Elemental Overdrive.
Elemental Overdrive. We'll do that.
In 3 minutes, 12 seconds. Elemental Overdrive is a 2D anime based platforming adventure game where you go and play as the Navius. I don't know. You go and you play as a character based and that has an elemental specialization in a kingdom in which everyone battles for the top throne. You go and take weapons, incorporate them into your own, battle with your rival, and face the Shadow Seat in Elemental Overdrive.
All right. So I think we have a game here, Alex. What do you think? Would this be a game you want to play? And is it fun?
Yep. This is my game right here. This is exactly what I would want to make. Only difference is probably I would make an enemy that is food based, but that's about it. Maybe make him like gummy. But yeah, I love this kind of stuff. First off, I love suit transformations. I love power upgrades in general into animes. Whether that's Super Saiyan, One Piece's Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3, Naruto's Sage form, anything like that where you can slowly evolutions. If you can change your character to make them look more powerful, I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, I've always loved Mega Man games and Mega Man type mechanics where you beat a boss and you get their power type of thing. So I would give it a shot. I still haven't done Cuphead yet, which I know is very similar to Mega Man, which I'll do when the DLC comes out. Now that we have a complete game, what game studio would you be assigned to be able to make Elemental Overdrive the best?
This one's a difficult one. Platinum Games, give them a shot, you know?
Yeah. I would give it to, why can't I think of their name right now? Supermassive. No, Super Giant. I always get them mixed up, man. Super Giant, Hades, Bastion, all that stuff. They would make a banging soundtrack, and the gameplay mechanics would just be immaculate.
Yeah. And you know what? Let me see. I know one other studio that I think could do a great job here. Let me see.
Yeah. While you look that up, I'll just give it to Capcom. We'll just more Mega Man. They could do 2D really well, art style really well.
Arc System Works. Oh. The people behind Guilty Gear.
Yeah, and also Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yep.
Yeah. All good suggestions. And with that, 193rd IP has gone gold. We hope you look forward to this experience that will probably never release. You can write to apphoundgames@gmail.com if you have anything to patch into the game we created today. Also, give us feedback. We are still learning how to make this show better, and your feedback really helps. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to back our ideas, please head over to patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. Patrons receive episodes 2 days early and an extra podcast at the beginning, which you caught the tail end of our conversation at the beginning of this episode. That's patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. If you like the show, why not subscribe and give us all the stars on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Spotify, YouTube, and more. And if they ask for a review, instead of reviewing our show, become your inner game critic and review Elemental Overdrive, the video game we just created. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Friday with another new IP. Again, my name is J.E.
I'm AG.
Thank you, and please remember that we are not game devs.
This is a cool one.
I thought so. I thought you'd like it, especially with the magical transformation scenes.
Absolutely. I thought that was my dog. At first, when I heard the crying, I was like, oh no, here we go.
Nope. That is from my end. I don't think it's picking it up though. We'll see.
It almost sounds like she's revving up. Woo! You'd probably sample that as an enemy noise, like as an animalistic noise.